Francisco to Tokyo. The European Commission is shaping the digital future, not just at home, but across the globe. Join us as we navigate the digital diplomacy of tomorrow, because everything we do is part of something bigger.
Good. Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Hope you had a good lunch. Welcome back to our Connect University Autumn School on digital and on international, and what we are doing to set the future in terms of how Europe will look like in terms of international partnerships on the digital side and the strategy related to that. For this specific session of today on the Global Gateway and how we are supporting the digital transformation worldwide, we have colleagues with us from DG INPA, International Partnerships, plus the D4D Hub. In terms of logistics, I will not go into the content, but in terms of logistics, remember that the recording will stay on YouTube, on the Digital EU websites. The slides will appear at the end of the week on Futurium. And remember always, if you have questions, please put them in Slido, and then we will make sure that they make their way towards the speakers. After each speaker finishes, we will make sure to take the questions, and then we will pass to the next speaker. So without further ado, to give you more context on why we are here today, and also who is going to speak with you, we have with us Ms. Ariane Lava, the head of Unit of Digital Transformation in DG INPA. Ariane, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alex. Great pleasure to be with you all online, and we're looking forward to really an interactive discussion with you through Slido. I'm very privileged to be this afternoon in a session together with Andrea Lerner, Team Leader Digital Economy in our unit at DG INPA for Digital Transformation, as well as Hannah Muller, who is our Policy Officer for Private Sector Engagement, and Cosmina Morgio, Policy Officer for Knowledge Hub Digital, amongst other tasks, as well as Irene Salvi, who is the Deputy Global Coordinator of the D4D Hub. You will really see that the Global Gateway digital priority is very much teams works hand-on. So we have prepared some highlights on the slides, aiming to show you really what in concrete we are doing. Next slide, please, Cosmina. So for the first part of the presentation, we want to help explain to you why we are doing a special focus on digital under the Global Gateway strategy of the EU. Overall, the Global Gateway strategy is about doing high-level partnership with our international partners around the world, Africa, Latin America, Caribbean, Asia, and Pacific. And really, we're looking to unlock investment in the priorities, areas, and sectors and direction our partners are interested in, and where, as EU, we have a special added value to bring. Particularly in the digital transformation, as the EU, we have a vision that this needs to be a human-centric digital transformation, reflecting our values of inclusivity, sustainability, fairness, and openness. And why we are so keen to do that in the best possible timelines is because worldwide, there are still 2.6 billion people that are offline. And particularly in Africa, over 800 million people are offline in Africa. And of course, this is the main barrier for education, for healthcare, for general access to public services, for financial inclusivity, and many other benefits in terms of sustainable development that can be unlocked whenever citizens around the world can have access to digital infrastructure and digital solution. So from the get-go, Cosmina, can I have the next slide, please? From the get-go in the next one, sorry, yes, beautiful. From the get-go in the Global Gateway strategy, there was an emphasis on the digital infrastructure and how to unlock investment globally in digital infrastructure worldwide with public resources as well as with private sector investment. We'll come back to that. What is important is in that approach to unlock investment, we really look at being first working as Team Europe our colleagues from D4D will explain to you more on that. We are also focused at having an integrated offer that spans from, hardware, unlocking investment in hardware infrastructure, up to the level of capacity strengthening or exchange of experience or policy dialogue, basically the whole package, as it interests our international partner to work with us in a modular manner. Next slide, please. And overall, of course, our partnership approach and our investment approach is absolutely in line with the EU International Digital Strategy, which distinguished colleagues from DG Connect have presented to you in the previous session, which I encourage you to check online if you haven't been part of it directly. So we are really looking at all the layers of the digital infrastructure that is of our interest of our partners, starting fundamentally with the layer of secure and digital infrastructure, secure and resilient, going into cybersecurity infrastructure, as well as capacity strengthening, developing the use of interoperable solution for digital identity wallet and other solution for e-governance, which we know are empowering citizens and businesses online. And finally, we are going now with our partners into mutual way of learning how we can develop trustworthy AI ecosystems. And across each of these, if you like, sectoral approaches, we really apply principles that there needs to be digital inclusion at the core, that they need to be resilience and security of the data that is put online by citizens and businesses. They need to be openness and trust in the internet that we are collectively developing. And ultimately, we need to ensure a twin transition, keeping at the core our energy efficiency principle and use of renewable energy whenever we develop new infrastructure. Overall, what does it mean in practice? Cosmina, if you can give me the next slide. So, for instance, in a specific region, Latin America and Caribbean, we are privileged enough that counterparts in Latin America, Caribbean, and EU member state on our side, we have come together to say we have an EU-like digital alliance. And the alliance is really, as I said, hands-on, team spirit. We developed together some fundamental secure connectivity infrastructure like the Bella cable or now satellite connectivity. And on top of that secure infrastructure, we develop ecosystem of innovation. We develop further infrastructure like, for instance, the AI ecosystem. You have a full session that the colleagues from this region have put online for you. I really encourage you to look at it. But I wanted to pinpoint to it again because it exemplifies what we want to do with Global Gateway Digital Priority. Importantly, we also think of solutions and we build this solution with the EU and the local private sector. For instance, in the Latin America and Caribbean region, we have an extremely active joint development of solutions based on Earth observation and Copernicus data centers in which we have invested through Global Gateway. One example. A second example, Cosmina, next slide. Exactly. For Africa, we have launched what we call a Global Gateway flagships that is called the EU-Africa Space Partnership. It's a very wide encompassing partnership. It's 100 million euro grant from our side. It continues on a collaboration that is already of 20 years with African counterparts in terms of using the assets of the EU space programs, be it the Copernicus, Galileo, or EGNOS, in ways that can boost private sector development in Africa, as well as general collaboration on public goods, like, for instance, disaster risk reduction or better agriculture, etc. This is, again, a broad approach through which we interact with partners on the African continent, be it from the private or the public sector, and together we invest into digital infrastructure assets, into digital solutions, into ways to do innovation with these digital assets that unlocks many times more benefits in terms of sustainable development. That's a quick run through. You will see much more in detail some with the next presentation, some further example of digital infrastructure we are deploying, how we assemble investment for that. But I want to come back quickly to some principle of our approach. Cosmina, next slide, please. Yes. So overall, we are clear that we cannot intervene everywhere for doing everything. But we also know we are very special in the tech landscape. The EU really has a unique value proposition, and this is really clear in the Connect strategy, is that we combine a level of excellence on the technical sides, thanks to our EU private sector, with an attachment to this principle of security, resilience, data sovereignty, and sustainability. We are also extremely careful that our value proposition is absolutely anchored into a legal framework, and we are ready anytime to exchange with our partners what is it they want to replicate from what we have done, what is it they want to do differently in their local context. We really have this active policy dialogue where we learn from each other. And of course, we're always happy to partner with further like-minded partners, be them in international multilateral development banks, or be them in different partner countries around the world, because we know the challenge of closing the digital divide with human-centric solution is bigger than any one of us can do individually. And next slide, please, Cosmina. Last slide, which I want to present on my side, is really to explain to you how we have even simplified, accelerated, reinforced the way we collaborate with the European private sector. Because once again, to hammer the message, 2.6 billion people that need a better access to digital solutions for sustainable development, we can't do it purely on grants or on public sector intervention. We absolutely need the pool, the muscle, the energy, the innovation that resides in the private sector. So we have recently unleashed at the Global Gateway Forum at our commissioner level and with ministers in attendance from our partner country, what we call the EU Global Gateway Investment Hub. It's a very simple platform whereby European private sector with our colleagues from ministry in the different member states can signal to us all in Team Europe, look, there is this investment opportunity where we think we have something special to offer as Team Europe, and where we think we can work together in a more focused and accelerated manner. I encourage you to check the link that I put on this slide, because this platform is constantly evolving. And through this platform, we commit on our side, on Team Europe side, that we will really work on the most promising investment opportunity and see what we can assemble in terms of policy support or financial instruments from the public or private sector. That ends my quick run through. I'm very happy to take any question. Just give me some minutes to see on the chat. Where are you? What is the topic of your questions? Thank you very much again for your attention. If there are any questions.
There seem to be no questions at the moment, Ariane.
Okay, super good. Then let me hand over to colleagues Irene and Anna to take you through the next round of our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariane, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hannah Müller. As Ariane introduced in the beginning, I'm a policy officer in the Digital Transformation Unit at DG INPA. And what we want to focus on now in the second part of our short input here today is on how the policy agenda Ariane laid out, so the International Digital Strategy and the Global Gateway Investment Agenda, how they are implemented into practice, and how we do this as part of a concerted Team Europe effort. And to that end, maybe, Cosmina, we can move to the next slide. We aim to introduce you to the D4D Hub. D4D stands for Digital for Development. And this is Team Europe's platform for digital cooperation with partner countries, initially focusing on Africa. It's now global in scope. And it is our tool to not only coordinate efforts among the European Commission and member states, but also to engaging the private sector to support the implementation of the International Digital Strategy and the EU Business Tech Offer. So when we look at the multi-stakeholder platform of the D4D Hub, I think the first question is, who does it bring together? Who are the stakeholders coming together in this hub? So we have the European Commission with its different DGs working in the digital transformation sector worldwide, as well as the European External Action Service. Then critically, we have member states and their international cooperation agencies, in case they have them. We have the European Investment Bank and other development finance institutions. But also, and that is key, we have the civil society and academia sectors represented, and very importantly, to deliver on our current agenda, also the private sector. And I think it's fair to say that the D4D Hub has become increasingly relevant since its launch in December 2020. As we see, the geopolitical competition in the digital transformation sector is constantly intensifying. And we also see that partner countries are showing a growing interest in human-centric digitalization, the approach that Team Europe is advancing, as well as the EU Tech Business Offer. And in this context, the D4D Hub as a platform facilitates the European approach by ensuring coordination among its members, which means programs and initiatives by the Commission and member states, as well as incorporating the perspectives and needs of partner countries and civil society and private sector actors, all to scale up investment and innovation eventually. If we move to the next slides, we will go a bit more into depth on how the D4D Hub structures its work. So to guide the work, the D4D Hub set itself under consultation among its stakeholders, a strategic framework to define the main thematic work streams that on the one hand are closely aligned with the needs expressed by partner countries, and on the other hand also reflect the core components of the international digital strategy and European interests. So you can see here there are 4 main thematic work streams: digital governance, artificial intelligence, secure, trusted, meaningful connectivity, as well as Earth observation in space. And across these thematic focus areas, there are also cross-cutting topics that are addressed by working groups within the D4D Hub. And they include digital skills, a focus on digital rights and gender, the green and digital transformation, also often referred to as twin transition, and the area of cybersecurity and data security. And I think having this thematic structure has shown or allowed the D4D Hub also to translate a strategy into practical cooperation formats. I mean, they're broad enough that they allow for specific needs of regions or partner countries, as well as specific interests of the member states in different thematic areas. And can therefore be addressed by the consortia of different stakeholders that come together under the D4D Hub. The hub also works through regional branches, focusing on one hand Sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America and the Caribbean, Asia Pacific, and EU neighboring countries. And if we move to the next slide, next to having these regional focus areas in 2024, the D4D Hub began establishing informal digital hubs at national level as well. This approach is currently piloted in Kenya, Nigeria, Tanzania, Brazil, and Colombia. And what this allows, these informal digital hubs really allow EU delegations in countries, as well as member states present there, to coordinate the digital cooperation locally, really making it easier for the EU to engage with, understand with, and partner with local stakeholders that know the situation on the ground. And these informal digital hubs are usually co-chaired by the EU delegation and member states, and also have a customizable approach. So they're really there to serve the interests on the national level in the country they're being established. If you are wondering on how so many thematic focus areas and also regional formats are being coordinated, the D4D Hub is supported by a secretariat that is responsible for its overall coordination of activities. The team of the Secretariat is based in Brussels. It supports the day-to-day management of work streams and also facilitates knowledge sharing between the different D4D Hub members and other stakeholders interested in the work of the Hub. It further implements outreach activities aimed at increasing the visibility of D4D Hub members' interventions. I think currently this week, colleagues are present, for example, at the Africa Tech Festival in Cape Town. And ensures that the European offer and also the approach of the D4D Hub disseminates and attracts further stakeholders that are like-minded and want to work on the European approach being disseminated further. And to go into a bit more detail of how especially the private sector is integrated in its function into the D4D Hub, I will hand over to my colleague Irene Salvi, who's the Deputy Global Coordinator of the D4D Hub Secretariat here in Brussels. And she will give you a bit more detailed insight into how the D4D Hub is engaging civil society and especially private sector stakeholders. Over to you, Irene.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Good afternoon, everyone. As I said, my name is Irene Salvi. I'm the Deputy Global Coordinator of the D4D Hub, and I'm very happy to be with you today and to guide you through some also practical aspects of how we work, and in particular the multi-stakeholder component, how it is deployed. As Hannah was saying, to ensure that our work benefits from broader expertise, the D4D Hub has two advisory groups. One is for civil society and academia, and the other one is for private sector, the so-called private sector advisory group. These groups are not just consultation platforms, but they really help bring real-world evidence into policy and program and design. So there are regular consultation with the members of this group in that regard. We also ensure through these groups that our initiatives are inclusive, are implementable, and are aligned with the market realities. That is also constantly evolving, and that's why also the strategic framework is important for us. And then also shape a coherent narrative on what the European digital model stands for internationally. So this multi-stakeholder approach has been also repeatedly highlighted in the EU Tech Business Offer as a very key strength of Team Europe. And as also Ariane said at the very beginning, when it's about this component of the presentation, this is very practical and the groups are accessible. So I will invite you all, the link on our website, it's here, and you will see how to access them in a moment. As regards the private sector advisory group, that is also important for the EU Tech Business Offer. If you can please go to the next slide. The private sector advisory group was kicked off in June 2023 and now has grown to over 170 members from Europe, from Africa, from Asia Pacific, and Latin America. The private sector advisory group includes also, let's say, companies of different size, from really startups, but also SMEs, and very importantly, also tech leaders. And they are mainly, composed of European partners, but it has also increased local private sector partners from different regions. At the D4D Hub, and also because of the, importance of the EU Tech Offer and what that means for the evolution of the Hub, we are entering in a strategic review phase to align the work of the private sector advisory group more strongly with the Global Gateway implementation, and what also Ariane was mentioning that was announced at the Global Gateway Forum, the Global Investment Hub, to work towards more strategically an engagement that is a contribution to the EU Tech Offer. Just to make some examples, how to make it a little bit more concrete, what that means engaging with the private sector advisory groups means having a component of strategic dialogue and policy input. So participation in multi-stakeholder forum and advisory group consultation. Hannah was just mentioning the event of this week, but next week there will be Transform Africa Summit. I would say that basically almost every month there are high-level global events where the D4D Hub is present, and is present also with members of the private sector advisory group and also civil society. And this is a clear example of supporting Team Europe initiatives. Then also market access, matchmaking, and local partnerships. So there are ongoing country-specific engagements formats with EU delegations. So we support also EU delegations with potential matchmaking and also regional matchmaking sessions. Then we also started initial collaboration with development financial institutions and also identification of opportunities to link technology capabilities with financing pathways. So everything that is under the umbrella of investment facilitation. And as I said, the promotion of the EU tech business software, that is also work on joint communication and also everything about the storytelling to strengthen the recognition of the European digital approach globally. Next slide, please. This is also the link of, you can see how our web page looks like. You can see here how to get involved for both groups, for both advisory groups. There is a link to access an application form, and there is no deadline, so applications are welcomed for both groups. Once the let's say once the application is received and the member approved, members also have the opportunity to have access to a dedicated intranet that is also very important for accessing opportunities, but also to exchange among members. So to conclude, we are together as a Team Europe, jointly working towards a human-centric digital transformation worldwide. The D4D Hub is positioned in a very unique way to bridge the policy component, but also the financing component and the technology ecosystems. The D4D Hub, through the advisory group, is a contributor to the EU tech business software, and it's helping Europe to act internationally as a partners that build sustainable digital ecosystems, also leveraging local capacity, and it stands for and aiming for a long-term cooperation. You can find more information on our website that is here. You can find the link. Thank you. And if there are questions, we are very happy to reply.
I think we only have one question for now, which is what the feedback is from the local partners.
The feedback from the local partners.
Yes.
I will say that this is really much at the core of every activity of the D4D Hub, because we work as a Team Europe to offer partnership, a long-term partnership with our partners worldwide. Ariane was mentioning the EU-LAC alliance, and that is where also the D4D Hub is strengthening and let's say the collaboration also with through the alliance also with local partners. And the same is in the other continent. So we identify key regional counterparts. So through the regional branches that Hannah also was mentioning, we have strategic partners with whom we co-shape and also work together to identify the priorities, and together we also see how at best we can build partnership through initiatives that responds to the local needs. But also over to colleagues if they want to complement.
Maybe just to briefly add on what Irina has said, and you're closer than me, so feel free to complement as well. I think the partner feedback is very positive in a way that it really offers an unprecedented access to the full ecosystem of stakeholders in the digital sector. So for local partners on the ground, reaching out to the D4D Hub, they have the direct opportunity to engage with tech leaders in different sectors from Europe. They can be connected to relevant civil society partners, and they can also directly get input on European policy priorities as well as member states' priorities. And I think especially the feedback on connection to private sector actors and potential investment opportunities is something that is really in demand, and also that can still grow, right? So there's, I think, a huge appetite to come together and to have a holistic programming approach from the EU Commission and member states in order to address certain digital divide challenges in partner countries, and to not having efforts duplicating by member state A running a small program, member state B running a small program, and then the Commission running a slightly different program, but to really have a coordinated and therefore larger at scale effort. And I think the feedback on this has been very positive from partners. And if we can even increase the private sector engagement, it can of course still grow. I think this is also responding to feedback that was received.
Okay, we do have one more question regarding if there are any matchmaking events to match EU companies plus local companies.
Yeah, for example, we support the EULAC Digital Accelerator. It's exactly an initiative that has this type of approach, matching what are the opportunities for startups in the Latin American Caribbean context, and see at the European level who is ready, for example, to ensure that there is a matchmaking between a need and the opportunity and the offer from startups of the company. So, for example, this is something that when Anna was saying that we play this role of facilitating this type of opportunities, we are this entry point for those companies that have joined the D4D Hub to ensure that every type of opportunity, and now I mentioned one where there is this concrete matchmaking, and I can make also more examples, and there will more and more come in the future. We act as this platform where information are accessible. So they have this entry point where we inform them about what is possible and what is offered. And we made this big effort, coordination effort, to compile all these opportunity from the EU, but also through our member states. And the main aim of the D4D Hub, that they all come together, member states, but also European Commission, on what they jointly want to do together. So it's like very agile, it's agile, and is accessible. Behind there is a big cooperation effort to ensure that there is a sort of one entry door, and the companies that access our platform have one source of information about what are the opportunities. And that will come more and more, as Anna also was saying, in cooperation with EU delegations. So in the 2026 roadmap, we have started to identify some concrete opportunities at national level, and that will pass through the D4D Hub. Also in 2025, we had sort of matchmaking in the Caribbean with the CARICOM region. So we are also the platform that delegations are starting more and more to leverage to ensure that there is this matchmaking or that those matchmaking opportunities can take place.
So then to also link it with another question from our audience, to make this clear, that means that also local companies or non-EU businesses can also access or propose projects through the hub. Or is the Global Gateway Investment Hub only meant for EU companies?
If you want, I can answer. I can intervene. Yes, so well, in the website there are a lot of information about this and about how this works. But basically, yes, companies for partner countries can also benefit from the project or the investment hub. They can benefit. There has to be in the proposal that is made through a European member state, clearly also some participation of European private sector in terms of investment, for instance, etc. But local partners can participate, of course. Thank you.
Good. Understood. I personally do not see any other questions from the chat. At the same time, if we will have more, we can also take them later on. Then, is it okay if we move further? Or do you have any closing words, Hannah, Irena, that you want to mention?
No, I think in terms of closing words, exactly, more information and way more detail can be found either on the website of the D4D Hub or on the website of the Investment Hub. Especially, I saw there's another question including SME participation. There are some minimum ticket sizes, but you can find the details on the website, and as it's constantly evolving. And I think we would close the section on the D4D Hub and hand over to our colleagues, Andrea and Cosmina, who will give some more insights into concrete digital infrastructure investment projects.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Andrea Leone. I just intervened, but I just to introduce myself, I'm team leader for digital economy, the same unit as my colleagues. And while I will talk about, together with Cosmina, about concrete investments, how all of this translates to something that has an impact for our partner countries and for Europe. And the first part, I would like to ask the technician, please, to launch a video. There should be
one on cables and the network tomorrow as well. So make sure to join that session as well. Okay. The video is finished if you want to continue on there.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thanks. So yes, so the video was about showing how this happens. So the construction and it which happens in particular, it was about European countries where the actually the project is ongoing, so it's still being developed, and but the Mediterranean part is completed. So the video was about the Mediterranean part, showing how to lay the cables, the boats to lay the cable, and how concretely this happens. It's important. This is very important because the submarine cables are the infrastructure of the internet. Basically, 99% of all internet connectivity goes through submarine cables. So they are very essential assets for the countries, for the society, for the economies, for the companies, for the government, etc. So basically, the services, I mean, the government services that you see, they use every day, or the the connectivity you have on your laptop or Netflix or anything, Google services, they go through submarine cables. So without them, internet cannot work, at least as it is today. So this is why an essential part of the global gateway, and for Europe, it's to support the development of those cables in line with EU values and regulations, meaning security, cybersecurity, and resilience. I don't know if you heard in the past months or years there have been attacks to submarine cables, because they're essential and a critical infrastructure. And those attacks, which were deliberated or not, impacted economies. And they impact even more the economies of partner countries, such as in Africa, where the resilience is lower, because there are lower submarine cables, a lower number of submarine cables connecting those countries. So it means that if you have a cut of 2 or 3 cables, they are out, and basically every day they lose millions and millions of euros because their service cannot work, they cannot connect internationally, the banks are out of business, etc. So these are very essential. So what we did concretely with the Global Gateway is to support the construction of this cable, working with the European private sector. This is a project with an European promoter, so the one investing in the project, which is called Sparkle. And even the construction of the cable was made by a European company, Alcatel Submarine Network called. So both sides, the management and the investment and the construction of the cable are made by Europeans. But let's say the beneficiary are Europeans and from our partner countries, because this connects, as you can see here, well, Northern African countries, Eastern African countries, Middle East, and till Oman, till India. But what do we do with all this connectivity? I mean, we are not, of course, supporting the construction of the cable to allow to connect to Netflix or to other services like that. It's really important for us. The money we provide to this project is to support. We'll see it later in the next slide. The connectivity of academic and research institutions. You have to know that connectivity, internet connectivity is essential to academia and research. Without that, basically, without data, research cannot work. And this is why one of main partners, the main beneficiary of this project is GEAN, which is an association of European research networks, connecting basically all European universities and all European research center, innovation center. GEAN connects also the other countries that I mentioned, in this case, through this cable, Eastern Africa, Middle East, and India, to European university and research, and vice versa. So we European are connect universities and research entities are connected to those countries thanks to the cable. Just to make an example, for instance, I don't know if you heard about the CERN, the Particle Physics Research Center, one of the biggest research initiative in the world. So GEAN connects also that center, and a scientist that are in other parts of the world can receive the data produced at the CERN and can work the data produced thanks also to this kind of connectivity. As you can imagine, the amount of data produced in this kind of research is huge. It's petabyte of data, so it would cost an enormous amount of money to have normal connectivity. So this is why GEAN works to create dedicated connectivity to those centers. There are many others that I could mention. For instance, ITER, it's another international research project in France for nuclear fusion, etc., etc. So that's very important. And what is even more important for our partner countries, for instance, in Africa, is that those counterparts of GEAN, for instance, Ubuntu.net is called in Eastern and Southern Africa. They not only connect research and academia, but they connect all education communities. So even high schools, even ministries, etc. So basically, this kind of connectivity is essential. So these are like the beneficiaries of our projects. In this map, you can see the connectivity that GEAN manages. It's an online map everybody can access. It's public. So basically, if you want to know how the European research community is connected to the world, through that you will know it. You will be able to explore. Please go to next slide. Thanks, Cosmina. Yeah, so this is concretely the sorry, it wasn't you jumped. Okay. So this is, as I was mentioning, the project. So the blue, which is part of the Mediterranean part of the Blue Raman project, which has been completed this week. So as you can see, it is Europe, so biggest, let's say, data centers in Europe, landing points in Europe to connect the rest of Europe. So for instance, Genoa, Marseille, Palermo, they connect then terrestrially to the rest of Europe, plus the Northern African countries, and then other European countries such as Greece and for instance, Cyprus, etc. So this is the part of the project which is already connected. And then in the next slides, we will show the rest of the project. So, but before that, before talking about the future, it's important to say how this integrates to the overall strategy. So this Blue Raman project is part of a political initiative in which there are many countries involved, as you can see in the list of flags, let's say, which is not only digital. So digital is serving the rest of the cooperation and trade we want to do as European Union with the other countries. But not only trade, also economy, energy, security, etc. So this is this IMEC called Corridor, India, Middle East, Eastern Europe Economic Corridor. It includes all aspects that are relevant to connectivity and trade. So from digital, energy, and security that I mentioned. So this is part of this strategy. And as you can see, there are quite few countries that are already involved in the Team Europe that we were explaining. So European entities, including not only governments, but most of all private sector, research and academia, financial institutions that are also participating, of course, in the project to allow the project to be financed. As you can see, in terms of money, it's quite an important investment. The construction of the, let's say, European managed part is 400 million euros. EU contributing with 37 in grant, so to help the research and academic community to be connected for the lifetime of the cable, which is, by the way, 25 years. Along all those countries, plus the financial institutions that we are coming in also with important amounts. Please, Cosmina. Okay, so this is what is in discussion now. So as you can see, a cable is always something that can be extended. So the first phase is it here. So I was mentioning is from Europe. So okay, you have only the landing points in Europe highlighted, so France and Italy and Greece. But in reality, those are crossroads, let's say, of a European connectivity through those landing points from in Italy, Europe, France and Greece will be connected to the rest of Europe and to all the academic and research communities in the rest of Europe. And then it goes through Djibouti, and with that, it impacts already Eastern Africa. So, because of course there is also terrestrial network in Eastern Africa through which the cable serves benefit the entire network, which is called this Ubuntu network in that region. And so Middle East, so 2 landing points in the Arab Peninsula, including Oman and India. So two things for the extension. As you can see, it's already highlighted one possibility for the extension, which is going from Djibouti to Somalia, Kenya, and Tanzania. Those countries requested to collaborate with us for the extension because of resilience issues. They had past year a cut that, as I was mentioning, in the Red Sea that impacted them for millions and millions of euros. So resilience is very important. And then also, as Europe, we ensure security and monitoring of the infrastructure, which is very important added value. And then to India, it's not going to impact only India, but the idea is that there will be an extension to the rest of South Asia. So you see, it's a really very important and impactful infrastructure that is showing how the global gateway can be concrete and impact the everyday life of our partner countries, citizens, and European citizens. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Andrea. So my name is Cosmina Mogyor, as Ariane already presented. I'm the Knowledge Hub Digital Focal Point in F5 Digital Transformation. Among other tasks, I'm also covering critical technologies in our unit. I will do a bit of a jump between the slides because I got inspired now listening to my colleagues. So for the better narrative, so to continue with the interesting examples of projects that we are implementing here in Digital INPA, I would like to talk a bit about the connectivity we're developing in Central Asia. And as we seek to contribute to bridging the digital divide and promoting connectivity across the globe, there are some projects that we're really proud of here in our unit. And as part of a Team Europe initiative in Central Asia, an important development is the connectivity. In the connectivity area, the overall objective of this action is to foster safe and inclusive satellite connectivity across the Central Asian countries with the aim of supporting digitally driven socioeconomic inclusion. In this region, the EU will contribute to bridging the connectivity gaps with satellite connectivity. It will also support the region's objectives in achieving data sovereignty by deploying secure infrastructures. Our Team Europe initiative on connectivity in Central Asia has 4 specific objectives. The first is to foster the development of and the use of ICT connectivity through policy development. Also, the second is to improve transparent and inclusive access to public and private connectivity services with a focus on underserved areas. The third is to foster local digital innovation. And last but not least, to build cybersecurity capacity and awareness. This project is quite important for us also because the geography of the Central Asia it's quite extended, quite broad. So with the satellite connectivity, this allows us to ensure access to internet services to communities that are far away from each other. So this gives us a bit of flexibility and agility in terms of providing connectivity. A few words about how this satellite connectivity works in practice. So in this region, satellite connectivity is a game changer in providing access in the underserved areas. The whole ecosystem of satellite connectivity is quite complex, and it includes several very important components. And the first one is the satellite constellation. which is a group of satellites in orbit around the Earth. These satellites work together to provide network of communication services covering the entire globe. The satellite constellation communicates with the gateway, which is a ground-based facility that connects the satellites to terrestrial networks. So the satellites that orbit the Earth connect with the terrestrial station, and this station connects to the more of a traditional internet network. So as I mentioned, the gateway receives the signals from the satellites and transmits them to through the terrestrial networks to ensure the data exchange. The gateway is connected to the national and international backbones. It aggregates the traffic from satellites and distributes it over the fixed or mobile network, complementing where wired connectivity is not present. So complementing the mobile black hole, or adding more bandwidth to support where gaps are existent, or the need for connectivity is greater than what is offered at the moment. From the national gateway, the signals are transmitted through a terrestrial middle mile network, which is a high-speed fiber optic network that connects the national gateway to local telecom operators. And the operator receives the signals and distributes them to the final users, which can be public institutions such as schools, hospitals, banks, and private individuals as well. These final users, whether public or private, can then access internet services like on a traditional network. In Central Asia, the first infrastructure is already being deployed in the framework of this program, and we are excited about the prospect of connected and underserved communities. And this takes me to another important tool that we're using to accelerate our impact through different projects under the Global Gateway framework, and is the broadband mapping tool. It's a pilot instrument. And it combines various open source data and integrates different layers such as infrastructure, costs, and quality of services in a number of countries. The map can serve policymakers, private sector, and other stakeholders in making better informed, data-driven decisions, or where to invest in digital infrastructure. Now it is in a pilot phase, covering countries such as Mozambique, Central Asian countries, as well as DRC, Nigeria, and Madagascar. So this is a very important tool because, as you've seen in the projects that we presented, me and Andrea just now, we are targeting specific contexts and the specific situations where the connectivity is non-existent or at a lower level than what the needs on the ground are. And this tool helps us to better channel our efforts to prioritize and identify opportunities for investment. And this leads me to actually what is the life to actual reality. I hope you can still hear me. Okay.
Yes, we can. Yep.
Yes, and this leads me to this slide. Because we have seen some ideas of projects, and this scheme oversimplifies really the way we take the idea to actual reality. We start from analyzing the EU's current state of play, examining existing technologies, industrial strengths, and market presence. We then embark on an analysis, listening to our partners' needs, and also identifying potential gaps and opportunities where we could design an action. Our approach is grounded in a testable methodologies, considering expectations of stakeholders, including the EU, institutions, national governments, investment agencies, and the EU private sector. We compile all these findings in a report which assesses the idea and the project's potential impact on taking up the Global Gateway objectives and for developmental impact overall, and exploring how this could be supported through the EU tech offer. If the analysis confirms a substantial and adequate positive impact, we proceed to a feasibility study assessment, and then implementation, doing the financial engineering with the different instruments available, such as grants, loans, guarantees, etc., and hence moving a concept from moving this idea from a concept to a real project on the ground. Our goal is to deliver a EU tech offer that meets our partners' needs and supports the Global Gateway objectives. And this evidence-based approach helps us to make a real difference in promoting a human-centered digital transformation that is sensitive to the needs on the ground and is based on a commitment to making a lasting impact. And if you allow me to jump a bit the slides back, and to wrap up actually my intervention and our session today, I'd like to say a few words about the Knowledge Hub Digital, which is a key instrument in supporting us taking the concept, the idea from concepts to actual impact on the ground. So Knowledge Hub Digital is a facility supporting the Global Gateway objectives of promoting a human-centric digital transformation. It does that by providing a specialized technical assistance to EU delegations, to European Commission, and institutions in our partner countries. These are among the potential users of this facility. And how does it look in practice? It provides ad hoc advice on digital aspects related to several areas, including connectivity. So, for example, if we identify a connectivity gap, and we may say that this could represent an opportunity for investment. We follow the scheme that I just showed you, and the Knowledge Hub Digital plays an important role in evaluating the impact of that potential project. So services under this facility include assessing the maturity level of connectivity, network infrastructure, market assessments, and regulatory contexts, as well as providing innovative solutions to bridge the identified gaps. As an example of in practice of how the facility helps us in our work is this country digital briefs, which are a set of comprehensive analysis that assesses multiple digital domains and provides a snapshot of a country's digital maturity level, highlighting areas of strength and opportunities for investment. These briefs can inform our EU delegations member states and other partners alike to further inform the identification of projects in areas of digital transformation. Thank you for your attention and happy to take any questions, if any.
Super, Cosmina. I think if I check now, unless people at home have other questions live that you want to ask now. For now, I see only one question regarding when you present the tools. The question being, what decisions did these tools help you take?
Okay, maybe I can take this. So thank you. Very interesting question. I can show why the tool is useful and what kind of impact it has. So as Cosmina was saying, for a moment we developed it in an opportunistic way for a certain number of countries that requested actually they use the tool. Basically, it is a decision support system, so it means that it helps thanks to data, thanks to the analysis of the data it does, to take decisions. And the decision we want to take is on investments. So what kind of investment you want to do, where and how and why. So a couple of examples. In Mozambique, it was used to rank a certain number of proposals that the European Union delegation in Mozambique received. And the proposal were about telecom expansion, basically rural development projects for telecommunications. So the kind of projects that can bring connectivity to areas and having a high impact. The problem is that they can have a high impact, but also the economically and financially, they are not easy to justify because, of course, those areas are areas where the density of the population is reduced. So it's more complex for companies, telecommunication company, to make business. So this is why the public has to intervene, covering what we call the market failure. So basically the lack of clients that they have in that area to be able to make their business plan work. So in that case, it was used to rank a certain number of proposals received. And at the same time, also in the project that Cosmina mentioned in Central Asia, which also covering a rural community, it was also used to map the demand of those rural community in terms of needs and future access to internet. So basically, it's also used as a decision support system to decide which community geographically they have to be they have to be supported for the project where the project has to land. I mean, it is important that just to highlight some of the features of the tool that, as Cosmina mentioned, it is based on open source data, which is very important. I mean, nowadays the amount of let's say analysis you can do based on open source is enormous. There is a huge amount of open source data available. Of course, this requires a very in-depth analysis and validation. And that also we used, let's say, machine learning, which is artificial intelligence, basically, to make those analyses work. Just to make an example, we were always doing this kind of analysis, of course, not supported by IT and artificial intelligence in the past. But when I started working in the year 2000, we were doing it for all the kind of infrastructure in African countries. And this kind of analysis took just for a small area, so more areas, 6 months of people going in a field and taking data, and then other 2 months, let's say, of analysis of the data. So it was very long, very expensive, and now using, let's say, in an intelligent way, the data we have available, so the open data and the tools such as artificial intelligence, we are able to doing it in much less time and of course, using much less resources from the past. So this is a very, let's say, positive impact of the new technologies applied to decision support system to investment. Thanks.
Okay. Maybe one last question on logistics. I also put it in the chat. Question being, how does IMPA coordinate with AAS, EUD, and Connect to identify potentially feasible win-win projects with partner countries? Or is that actually the role of the D4D Hub?
Maybe I can start, and maybe Rene can complement on the role of the hub if you want. So we, of course, the European Union delegations in the country, they are at the center of the coordination. They receive the requests from let's say the partner countries and the local partners, and they also coordinate when it is about opportunities and for instance, European private sector willing to develop investments in the country. They're also at the center. So I would say that European Union delegation, they have a central role. In terms of let's say coordination, we have many tools to coordinate, many fora, let's say, to coordinate with our colleagues from the other DGs or DG Connect and EIS. Basically, everybody has its own role. Connect, call it is of course the line DG providing the strategy and the policies at European level, but also externally about digital, what the EU has to do in digital, etc. The EIS, it's more the political diplomatic arm coordinating the overall approach of the European Union in the countries. And as I was saying, the UDs are central to this coordination, while INPA is responsible of managing, let's say, coordinating the budget, which is the global Europe in our case. So now what we are doing with the Global Gateway is to have a very strong coordination oriented to the investments. So with these investment hubs that we mentioned, there will be a screening of the proposals that we receive that the Commission will receive from the member states, which of course will involve Connect from the policy side, digital policy side, the EIS from strategic, diplomatic, and political side for the external service, and of course the EUDs as the European presence and arm in the field. Eleonora, do you want to add something? Sorry, Irene, do you want to add something on the D4D Hub?
Yes, maybe I can just add, was already briefly mentioned, but I'm happy also to step in this point. When we work at the D4D Hub, we also are implementing the informal digital hubs that are a coordination mechanism, the one that we have globally and regionally at the D4D Hub, meaning coordinating with EU member states and European Commission. So what Anna was saying, and Development Financial Institution, EIB, globally and regionally, we are piloting the same approach at national level. This pilot was established following the EU Council conclusion on digital diplomacy in 2023, had a strong role in promoting the multi-stakeholder collaboration through Team Europe. And for the informal digital hubs component, we work very closely with the European External Action. And we are piloting this mechanism in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Tanzania, in Colombia, and Brazil. When I say that we are piloting, meaning that we replicate the same same model of co-chairing that we have at the Global D4D Hub for the thematic streams of work. We actually replicate the same model at delegation level, meaning that the EU delegation co-leads with 2 member states that are volunteering, deciding to co-lead the coordination at national level on any type of, let's say, activity and decisions and coordination that for digital transformation initiatives that could take place at national level. And when I say that we pilot in these countries, we actually work with the whole 27 members that are present in country. And this is, let's say, a model that I said has been pilot, and for other countries it's not formalized as such, but we are also exploring opportunities, or let's say we are collecting also expression of interest for certain delegation to learn from this approach and to see how potentially can be also replicated. So the main objective is really to make sure that when it's about digital transformation in country, the EU goes, let's say, with one voice and avoid duplication of activities, they work in synergy, and there are identification of priorities and follow the identification of priorities, possibly co-implementing, co-designing and implementing joint initiatives as a Team Europe. That's the main objective.
Okay, understood. I don't see any other questions coming from the audience. So then, if you have any parting thoughts, everyone here. If not, we can also close earlier. Good, understood.
Yes, let me just, Alex, I don't know if you were going to do it, but to thank the audience for the interest, for the interesting questions. Well, we don't know what was really the level of knowledge of the audience there. So we try to give an overview to go from the beginning strategic point to the concrete impact we are having. I hope this was clear. Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. It's hard to estimate. And as always, if you do have follow-up questions, we try to put the links in the chat. So in case you want to, and you have specific things that you want to find out, you can try and check those links, and otherwise contact the team itself. So
Thanks.
Good. Then as I
Thank you.
mentioned, the recording will stay on YouTube and the slides will appear later on Futurium platform. And we invite everyone for the last sessions of tomorrow on the International Telecommunications Union, and as well on the Digital Global Gateways, how Europe can build a better infrastructure system. And we will cover again the aspect of submarine cables and the network as the whole picture. Thank you, everyone, and see you tomorrow.
To Brasilia, from San Francisco to Tokyo, the European Commission is shaping the digital future, not just at home, but across the globe. Join us as we navigate the digital diplomacy of tomorrow, because everything we do is part of something bigger.